Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to JK Tyre's Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Nishant Vas, Vice President from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Janice. Good day, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for this call. From the management side, we are represented by Mr. Anshuman Singhania, Managing Director, Mr. Arun K. Bajoria, Director and President, Mr. Sanjeev Aggarwal, Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. A.K. Kinra, Financial Advisor. Now, I would like to hand over the call to the management for their initial remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to JK Tyre's Q2 FY22 earnings call. And thank you all for joining us today. I am Anshuman Singhania, Managing Director. I have with me Mr. Arun Bajoria, Director, President, International Operations, Mr. A.K. Kinra, Financial Advisor, and Mr. Sanjeev Aggarwal, CFO of our company. I wish you all a very happy Diwali and season's greetings. In the second quarter FY22, the company witnessed a strong demand in the replacement and OEM segment due to sharp recovery in the economic activities in India, reopening of the markets and improvement in consumer sentiments on back of festive demand and continued decline in the COVID cases. We witnessed a good demand for our products in the replacement and OEM segment on the strength of much improved volumes in the truck, bus, radial and passenger and radial. The demand in the OEM segment has also shown decent growth in this quarter, resulting from higher volume in CV and PC segments. However, the non-availability of semiconductor chips and logistics disruption impacted the PV demand, which in turn affected PCR and LCV tire supplies during the quarter. We hope that the good progress in vaccination level across India and in the world will significantly improve the market condition in India and abroad. Further, with expected realignment and resolution of supply chain issues across the world will provide huge opportunities for us going forward. In pursuit of our effort to strengthen our market presence, we have added more than 340 plus dealers during the quarter. We recently launched Smart Tire 360-degree campaign, which has received very good response and already crossed 50 million viewership on social media. The campaign has won the Viral Marketing Award by the Economic Times. Smart Tire sales is gaining grounds. Further, our strategy of premiumization of PCR tires and truck and bus tire is getting good traction in the marketplace. On the export front, we continue to focus on export market and registered an export of 454 crores as compared to rupees 337 crores. Registered an increase of 35% over the corresponding quarter. We believe that the JK Tyre has become the largest exporter of MHCV tires in USA from India in the Q2 FY22. Going forward, in the line with our strategy, we will continue to expand our presence in technologically demanding markets like Europe, North America. On the financial front, JK Tyre registered a growth of 31% in the top line over the corresponding quarter, which stood at 2,998 crores. As you would be aware that the tire industry is witnessing an unprecedented increase in the input cost, which is impacting operating margins. However, the demand scenario is quite robust, and therefore we believe we can try to pass on the increase in the raw material prices to improve our margins in the coming quarters. Further, we are of the opinion that raw material prices would stabilize going forward, which would ease the pressure of margin in H2 FY22. We are also taking rigorous measures to improve our overall operational efficiency. The company is optimistic on prospect of industry on account of increased consumer confidence, preference for personal mobility modes, as well as overall national and international economic recovery after the pandemic has subdued. JK Tyre's mission to be green company has come a long way, and today it is considerably much greener and cleaner in terms of our product offerings. The company continuous focus on manufacturing more from less resource by way of reducing energy consumption, moderate greenhouse emission, and adopting cleaner process and fuels. JK Tyre is also pioneer of creating green and smart tires and has become the India's first company for verifying carbon footprint as per ISO 14064. Most importantly, the company has vaccinated almost 100% of its employees for the first dose and shall continue to give utmost importance to the well-being and safety of our employees and their families and business partners and society. Now I would request Mr. Bajoria ji to take us through the performance of JK Tyre and its subsidiary companies.
Thank you, MD sir, for the brief highlights and performance of second quarter of financial year 2022. Now, with regards to the JK Tyre subsidiaries performance, both the subsidiaries continue to contribute well in terms of overall revenues and profitability. Cavendish Industries Limited recorded a double-digit growth. Net revenues were recorded at rupees 733 crores in Q2 as compared to rupees 667 crores in Q2 FY21. Corresponding quarter, an increase of 10% on year-on-year basis. EBITDA stood at rupees 51 crores in Q2 FY22. JK Tornel Mexico continued its growth momentum and performed very well in this quarter. The market conditions have improved and we are expecting further improvement in performance going forward. Tornel's financial performance was better in terms of good growth on year-on-year basis and quarter-on-quarter basis as well. Tornel achieved a highest ever turnover in this quarter and is consistently doing monthly sales of over 500 million pesos, which in terms of Indian rupees would be 181 crores per month. It achieved a turnover of rupees 542 crores as compared to just rupees 278 crores, an increase of 95% with EBITDA of rupees 53 crores, a 100% increase on year-on-year basis. Profit after tax stood at rupees 23 crores as against just rupees 6 crores in Q2 of financial year 21. There was a good volume growth on the back of robust demand from Latin America and US markets as well as Brazil. We are delighted to share that JK Tornel has bagged the prestigious order of Mahindra North American unit for supply of farm tires for their tractor production, which is a sizable business on sustained basis. Now, I would request our CFO, Mr. Agarwal, to brief about the financial performance of this quarter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And Let me talk about the performance for Q2 FY22. The consolidated sales were recorded at rupees 2,998 crore as compared to rupees 2,286 crore in the corresponding quarter last year, registering an increase of 31% on YOY basis. The capacity utilization during the quarter was around 85%. All the market segments contributed to the above revenue growth. Export revenues were recorded at rupees 454 crore vis-a-vis rupees 337 crore in Q2 FY21 of previous year, an increase of 35%. Profitability at EBITDA level was recorded at rupees 303 crore on a consolidated basis. EBITDA margins stood at 10.1%, and as already discussed, profit margins contracted due to unprecedented rise in input costs recently. Cash profit stood at rupees 197 crore and profit after tax stood at rupees 65 crore. We were able to reduce the finance cost by about 14% from rupees 123 crore to rupees 106 crore. That is a reduction of 16 crore on YOY basis for the quarter, and reduced rupees 40 crore in H1 of FY22, which is a reduction of approximately 16%. Strict credit discipline and efficient cash management coupled with lower borrowing cost is leading to reduction in interest cost even at higher level of working capital to support higher level of operations. The leverage ratios of the company remains within a comfortable zone. We have been continuously focusing on deleveraging, as we have been following this practice now for almost about 2 years as committed, and we have reduced long-term loans by 175 crore on net basis till September 2021, and shall continue to focus on the deleveraging, and the total long-term loans are expected to be reduced by 40% by FY24. So we have already circulated the earnings presentation through the stock exchange, which is available on our website as well. And with this update, I would now open the forum for question and answers. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Ashutosh Tiwari from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. So, firstly, on the India capacities, you mentioned that the consolidated capacity is 575,000 tons. What is the India capacity and utilization during the last quarter, standalone and Cavendish both?
Yeah, hi. Our capacity utilization has been 85% utilization for the quarter 2 FY22.
That is a console level. I want to know India standalone and Cavendish.
No, India operations is 85%.
Okay, India operations. Okay, both Cavendish and standalone.
Yes.
And we were around 95% in Q4. I remember around 95-96%. So this drop is mainly because of which segments we are facing some softening in this quarter?
The drop is because of the OE segment. The OE segment.
Okay. And how is the truck tire demand, replacement demand in the last quarter versus say Q4? If you can provide some picture, how is the truck replacement doing, both bias and radial?
In terms of the outlook, in the near term, we are expecting a robust demand in the replacement market with the boost in the economic activity emerging from strong infrastructure spending from the government, with the normal monsoon, rural demand picking up, strong vaccination drive. These are all helping the market conditions and consumer sentiments to pick up. OE demand to remain muted in the PCR, in the PV segment, because as you know that there is, due to this semiconductor chip shortage and supply chain issues. In the CV segment, in the OEM demand has now started going up, which was muted for previous quarters. So, and in the export market, because of the anti-dumping duty from China in US and other markets, there is a continuous good tailwind for the Indian industry. And over the next few years, we are optimistic and expect the healthy growth of the industry. And additionally, major factors that would drive the demand of the CV market are focus on government spending, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of their infrastructure development and even the national scrappage policy, which is going to come from 22.
Okay, sure. And lastly, on this debt, we have seen increase in the first half because working capital increase. So how do you see the working capital movement going ahead? Will it remain here or further increase? So how are you looking at it?
Yeah, I would request Sanjeev ji, if you could.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you. So in fact, Ashutosh ji, this is a normal phenomena, and we have, as I told in my earlier words, that we have been focusing on deleveraging. But as the business is growing and we need the working capital actually to sustain our increased enhanced business operations, so we resort to some kind of the working capital borrowing, and because of the working capital requirement increase. But otherwise, we have been focusing on deleveraging, and we are very much on that front on track. And hopefully now, because we have been very persuasively following the strategy to efficiently use the working capital. So we hope that this is almost like the maximum working capital requirement and the borrowings which we have today. So going forward, I am expecting that the things will remain at this present level.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some values have also gone up, because of the increases in the raw material prices and the end product prices.
Absolutely. So that is also one reason. Yeah, Mr. Kindra clarified that. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jinesh Gandhi from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Can you talk about the volume growth which we saw in this quarter and how it would be between replacement and OEM?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. The volume growth from the corresponding period, we have seen a 9% growth in the India operation. In consolidated, we have seen a 14% growth in volume in our numbers volume. And in terms of OEM has been slightly low, because as I explained in the earlier slide that the pickup of the CV segment has just started happening from now onwards, and we see that there is going to be a robust pickup of the CV segment going forward.
And in the case of PCR, as Anshuman ji mentioned earlier, because of the shortage of the semiconductor chips, so there has been some slackening of demand from the OEM side. So we can very well say that there is a very good pickup in demand in the replacement market and also in the export markets. So these are the two really very good growth drivers. In addition to, also we can attribute some growth to the OEM, because it's not like only in the PCR segment, there is some slackening because of the semiconductor, but other sectors are growing very well.
Right. And replacement, you indicated has seen a good growth. Is growth even across segments, primarily PCR and the truck and bus both are doing well, or particular segment?
Yes. All the segments, to be very frank, are growing well. And Mr. Anshuman Singhania mentioned about the average growth earlier in as far as the Indian operations and as far as the consolidated numbers are concerned. But all the segments are going fine.
Okay. And second question pertains to RM cost inflation. So in this quarter, what would be the gross impact of commodity prices which would have reflected in our P&L?
So actually, I will give you a broad understanding of how the input costs have gone up in the last couple of quarters. This has impacted the margins, of course, and we have seen that in the last 3 quarters, particularly when in the month of December, the raw material prices started increasing. December means December 2020. So the impact of raw material price increase overall till date has been in the range of about 20% on the selling prices. I'm talking about the impact, right? And which has been partially passed on to the customers through, let's say, gradual increase every month, and wherever we see that there is a possibility to pass on. And we intend to pass on the unabsorbed part as of now in the coming quarters. So we are very hopeful that the absorption of the increase in the raw material prices will definitely happen in the coming quarters, and because of the robust demand scenario at the moment.
Right. So as against this 40% increase in commodity prices, we would have required about 24-25% kind of price hike. Is that correct? And against that, what kind of price increases you have taken since December 20?
So again, as I said, there is a 20% increase impact, raw material price impact of about 20% on the selling price.
20. Oh, okay, my bad.
And because we have been using about 65% of the raw material cost is there, so essentially I am talking about 30%, right? So 30% increase in the prices, and this is just a general or average kind of a thing which I am telling you, but because this impact is higher in some of the raw material and compared to the other raw materials, so we have averaged it out to about 30%.
Okay. And on outlook for RM, Mr. Singhania talked about stable cost going forward. But aren't we seeing further inflation coming from crude-led derivatives, given that crude also has increased in recent past, and natural rubber hasn't come down materially enough to offset that? So do you expect the benefit only coming from stability coming only from FY23 or even in second half?
Well, this is anybody's guess because we are not very sure about how the raw material prices or the crude will actually behave in the times to come. But as per some of the reports which I have been actually reading, so this is like there is a very high volatility in the crude oil prices. Like last week there was about $3 to $4 reduction, and as per one of the reports from World Bank, so they are talking about like the average of about 74, 75 kind. So we cannot say that the raw material prices or the crude oil prices will move only in one direction. And that is why we were hopeful, and we have given that kind of a commentary at the beginning, that this may actually stabilize in the second half, and we may have lesser impact of the increase in prices, and we will get the benefit of increase in the selling prices rather.
Understood.
Demand continues to be robust. So in case there's a general cost increase, I think since the demand is robust, I think the industry should be able to pass on the cost increases to the end user, to the product.
Yeah.
Sure. And lastly, with respect to our capacity utilization segment, if you can share that along with the capex plan.
So on the capex plan, Sanjeev ji, on the capex plan, no future major capex plan of any of the entities except maintenance capex of approximately 100 crores, and earlier announced we have taken an initiative to do a debottleneck, which is a capex which is involved of 200 crores to unleash our PCR capacity. With this capex, we shall further strengthen our premium tires and market presence to meet the domestic and export demand. But we are certainly review our capex plans once the economic activity comes to its little bit of more normalization and settle. And but we are in any case, we are focusing very much on sweating our assets to maximum extent possible.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So in addition to this, as far as the capacity utilization, your question was related to that one also. So we have already mentioned that there was a capacity utilization at India operations as well as at the consolidated level of about 85% during the quarter.
Yeah, but if you can split it between, say, PCR and TBR, that will be helpful. Thank you.
That is really not readily available, but I can assure you that we have been actually working on almost like maybe 10 to 15% of the cap. Otherwise, we are fully utilizing the capacities. And going forward, as the demand picks up even in the PCR segment, so we will enhance our capacity utilization further.
Yeah.
To your question, I just want to add that the passenger car radial capacity is definitely at a higher level, and the truck bus radial capacity utilization is slightly lower, mainly because, as our MD sir said, that the commercial vehicle production by the OEMs is now picking up.
Right. Got it. Great. Thanks. I'll come back in queue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kaushik Poddar from KB Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I see. Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah, Kaushik ji, bataiye.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Kaushik, we can hear you.
Yeah. See, your peak operating profit margin is around 16-17%. So when do you hope to reach that kind of margin?
Mr. Poddar, actually this is again a very difficult question to answer because as we have been talking about the raw material price scenario, which is sort of unprecedented in nature in the last couple of quarters, and we are although quite certain that the things are likely to stabilize as we have discussed just now. So, but how we will be and how fast we will be able to achieve that number is really difficult to say at this point in time. But yes, we are making all out efforts to increase our efficiencies. Number one. Number two, to pass on the increase in the raw material prices to the customers bit by bit. Number three, we have also been premiumizing our product segments and product offerings. So hopefully we should be able to come back to a higher level of margins compared to what it is today.
I'd just like to add here is that Sanjeev ji has already mentioned about the unabsorbed prices, which we are seeing on a monthly basis. How can we pass on those prices? Then the other thing is that we are working very hard for enhancing our efforts to further improve the efficiency in the manufacturing, such as our productivity, bettering our productivity, lower energy, water consumption, reduction in wastages. With all this will result also in the margin improvement. Plus, we have been using greatly the use of digital AI-based tools in the manufacturing and marketing functions. We are focusing very much on premium sales, such as our smart tire, and we are launching the premium range of tires going forward, such as puncture-proof tires and Levitas in the PCR segment. Recently, we've launched the smart tire, which is doing very well in terms of volume. And further, our strategies, as Sanjeev ji also already mentioned, regarding the premiumization in the PCR and truck and bus tires is getting good traction in the marketplace.
Okay. Secondly, you see, it will become very difficult at this time to project whether the earlier margins of 15-16% when they will be achieved, because there are many factors to it. But fortunately, as MD has said, I think going forward, the company expects a better financial performance.
Absolutely.
Certainly.
Okay. And see, what about the market share of JK Tyre? Has it gone up in last quarter? Where is it?
The market share has gone up in from the corresponding period. In all categories, our market share has gone up, improved.
In fact, just to add to what MD sir said, in the last 5-6 quarters, our growth has been, and without giving any such number, I have been comparing on quarter basis, has been much better. Right? So we have been increasing our market share across segments, and the efforts are being made this through premiumization of the product range, and also like the innovative products which we have launched, like the Smart Tyre and the Fuel Saver Tyre, high performance tires. So these are the ones which are very well accepted in the market. So this is helping us in increasing our market share.
And our drive of expansion in terms of dealers and the reach in the reach of our dealers has been expanding the market.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mitul Shah from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question. Sir, my first question is on your premiumization. Can you give some ballpark number that contribution of premium products to total revenue for India operation or consolidated? And what was this number, say 2 or 3 years ago? So how it has improved?
Okay. Our PCR tire in the premiumization is nearly 40%. And in the truck and bus tire, it is 75% of premium tires from the total tires.
And in fact, this number has increased in the last couple of quarters again by about, let's say, 10% in the case of PCR, and in the case of bus and truck, again about 10 to 15% increase is there. So in terms of value exactly which you are asking, that is not readily available because we have not yet been calculated.
I'm asking, sir, volume terms, and I'm asking almost like a 2 or 3 years ago comparison.
Yeah,
what is the situation now?
Of course, the volumes, in terms of volumes, we have already mentioned 40% in the case of PCR, and truck and bus it is 75% at this point in time.
So second question is on Mexico operation. So sustainability, and can you give some more detail of this margin territory for this Mexico operations, and want to understand despite such a high commodity cost pressure, margins were highest in last 3 quarters. And one more request, we used to give 1 or 2 slides in presentation on this Mexico with industry growth and market share situation, utilization, etc. If we can start giving this from next result onwards.
Sure.
I would request Bajoria to please take this question, please.
Yeah. Thank you. You see, the Mexican operations, whatever you have seen up till now, we are expecting not only sustained operations, but we are expecting better than that, since, as I mentioned, we have already achieved a turnover of 542 crores in Q2, vis-a-vis 278 crores in the corresponding quarter of Q2, which is a 95% growth on year-on-year basis. And the EBITDA for the quarter has also doubled and is now at 54 crores as against 26 crores. So the operating margins at Mexico, as you have rightly asked why they are better, is for a simple reason that we have been able to pass on much more the equalization for the raw materials, because the raw material price increase is similar in Mexico as it is in India. And going forward, I can only say that we are working very hard. We have increased our volumes, output of passenger car radials last year, and this year we are further improving and increasing our output on the bias tires, and therefore you can expect much better performance going forward. And since, as I said, that there has been a good volume growth on the back of robust demand from Brazil, from Latin America, as well as from US markets. And which I'm just repeating what I had said, that we have bagged a very prestigious order in the farm tires as well from Latin America, operated by one of the Indian firms.
Great, sir. Congratulations and all the best. Sir, lastly, on the margin difference of a Cavendish operation and JK Tyre standalone seems to be slightly increased in this quarter. So can you give some detail on Cavendish side, sir?
There's slight increase in the...
You see, there are a couple of reasons for such reductions, and some of them are like segment mix. There has been no significant OEM sale and product mix, and also this margin is similar to the parent company basically. So really, if I try to analyze, there is because the products made at Cavendish and the capacity utilization is also exactly similar to the parent company. And going forward, I can only tell you that we are going to perform better than what you have seen in H1.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashutosh Tiwari from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Sir, I also have a question on this Cavendish margin. If I look at, I think the margin in the last quarter was around 7%, which is a much higher compression versus last year. I think last year, same quarter, we had margin of around 17%. So standalone business has seen compression of only 5%, 5.5% YOY. But this Cavendish has seen almost 10% compression in gross margin. So what's the reason behind this large compression in Cavendish?
Well, as I have just mentioned, we have now altered the product mix and we have made it a little richer, which was not so in this Q2. So you will see slightly better
in the coming quarters.
In the coming quarters, you will see better PBIDT margin.
One more point I think I would like to add to this is that in the case of Cavendish, as you would have noticed that there is a very little amount of sales to OEMs. And in the case of JK Tyre, in fact, we were able to pass on the increase in raw material prices to the OEM customers because there is an indexation-based pricing. And in the case of the Cavendish, because there is a replacement market sales, majority of the sales is coming from the replacement market. So whatever we could pass on, that has been passed on, but exactly the increase has not yet been passed on, similar to JK Tyre. So that is also maybe contributing a slightly higher reduction in margin compared to JK.
In the replacement market, it really takes time for to pass on the cost price increase. Whereas in the case of OEM, many of the OEM prices are linked to the raw material. See, that's why it is little
index-based.
That is why it is little easier to pass on the price cost increase.
Okay. And is it also that in the case of Cavendish TBR tires, Challenger, we have taken lesser price increase compared to our prime TBR radial from JK?
Well, it is similar. It is similar, but maybe MD sir can also give some light on it.
You see, we have a dual strategy in product offering, and we are offering in all segments different price points. So in that, our strategy is definitely one is the JK premium tire and one is the Challenger tire. So because of the mix in the segment, the price positioning is such.
And this is basically done actually to capture more market share.
Yes.
Okay.
But in any case, as we have said in the beginning, that we are making the product mix richer, and therefore you will see better margins going forward in CIL.
Okay. And what price increase we have announced or taken in October so far, or taking from November? Any announcement or any increase so far in October?
From November last year, you said?
No. In this month.
He's talking of October 21.
Yeah. Have you taken any price increase or announced any increase from November 1st? Anything?
You see, as MD sir just said in his opening remarks also, that we are inching up depending on the type of situation. And as you just heard, that out of the total price increase in the raw material, the inflation that has taken place, we have been able to hardly pass on 50%. So that balance has to be done in the coming quarters, and that is being done month-wise. And I can assure you that it was slightly done in October, and going forward, we will do the same.
Okay. And is there also, because we have heard from commentary from other companies that the bias tire demand in truck side is a bit weaker. Is it the sense for us also that truck bias demand is more weaker than truck bus radial?
No, here the truck bias demand is anything then weaker, because the infrastructure development and as the mining activity is going to be picking up, because the monsoon season was the effect in the preceding quarter. So as we go along, the bias demand is going to be quite robust and good, and even the farm sector is picking up now. So with that bias demand, we see to be good revenue driver.
And lastly, we had mentioned that in the last quarter, almost 59% of the sales was from truck and bus segment. Can we share, like, in this basically how much is the truck bias and how much is truck radial out of this truck bus segment?
Well, the mix of one second. The mix has we are nearly around 20% would be in truck bias, and around 45% would be truck radial.
Sure, perfect.
Okay. But that is 65%. I think the sales is 59%. You say our company sales roughly brought on annual basis 45% is TBR and 20% is truck bias on annual basis generally.
Yeah, out of 59%, I think Anshumanji said just 18%, 41 or 45 you said? 41% approximately.
Yeah.
41%.
It's
Ranging in now.
So ranging maybe.
But this is the quarter figure.
This is the quarterly.
Oh, yeah, got it. Sure. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ajit, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for taking my question, and my season's greetings to the management. I have two questions for Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal ji, please. Sir, there has been a lot of assertion from the management side about deleveraging for the last couple of quarters. So, I mean, the investor community is really hopeful that the management will walk the talk in the coming quarters and years. I just wanted to understand about your dividend policy also. I mean, in light of doing deleveraging, how would you plan to balance out the dividend policy of the company with the repayment of debts and all? Can you just throw some light on that, sir, please? Because your dividend payout ratio is still much lower than its peak it used to be in some earlier years. So can you share something on that, please, sir?
So at the moment, basically we have been focusing on deleveraging. And why deleveraging? Because we think that the growth aspects are there definitely in the business. And once we have, and this was one of the major concerns of all the investors earlier, and the company is also thinking the same way. So we want to come back to the ideal ratios level. Once that is done, and which is going to happen, let's say, in about another 1 year's time, that we will be within the ideal ratios scenario, then we will be taking up the expansion plans. That is, first let me explain, then I will talk about the dividend policy also.
Okay.
So this is like we are thinking deleverage, but simultaneously also taking the debottlenecking of our plants, because this has been the requirement to sustain our market share or maybe improve our market share in all the segments. So that is what we have been doing and focusing. And once this is done, let's say in another 1 year's time, and it could be earlier also if we are able to, let's say, gain good profitability as we have been projecting. So once that is done, then of course we can go for the expansion plan, number one. Number two, on the dividend front, we have a policy of about 30% of the total profits as payouts.
All right.
And this would be lower, considered as lower or higher. That is the perception of each individual investor, right?
Okay.
So,
yes.
And we believe that the redeployment of the profitability in the business will actually lead us to a higher profitability in future, and that
yes.
is the strategy which we have been following. So without commenting whether this is higher or lower, it is actually again saying that the perception. So, but yes, we have this kind of a policy on dividend.
I think
all right.
Forward, with regard to deleveraging, just want to add what Mr. Sanjeev has just said, that the next 3 years' time, 40% of the term loan will be repaid. That's a very key number, that the next 3 years' time, 40% of the current term loan will be repaid.
Yes.
And with the expansion programs which MD has already clarified, I think the company is on a correct route to deleverage its balance sheet, which we have done in the last, lot has been done in the last 1 year, and this process and journey is continuing for the next 3 years also.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So my follow-up question is on the raw material prices, specifically the current prevailing rubber prices. I read somewhere in your press release or presentation that the current prices are somewhere in the range of 170 to 173 rupees per unit. I think this is the RSS4 grade of rubber that we talk about. So will you just be able to share from the management's perspective, like what is the comfort zone that the management would like to see the price range? Is it like in the 130 to 140 range, or I mean, considering the last 3 or 5 years long-term averages, what is the comfort level of the rubber prices?
Look, I can only share what was actually happening. In February, March, the price was 140. And now, as you rightly said, the price is ranging in terms of 180, 181. Yes, last couple of days, 3, 4 days, 5 days, it has come down below 180, 1 or 2 rupees, 3 rupees. Okay. Now look, comfort zone will all depend on the kind of economy, the kind of offtake of tires, and whatever we are able to, deliver on the table. As we have you heard our MD sir and also our CFO, that all the actions that are being taken to increase the profitability are going to really help the company. But I would certainly say that 180 rupees a kilo is not at all desirable, and it is not sustainable also. So our guess is, and this is, again, I have to say that it is our thinking, guess or projection, that we should be somewhere in the range between 140 and 180, somewhere. I'm not able to pinpoint exact number.
Okay, I understand, sir. Thank you. If I may just...
Very difficult.
You see, the other factor I would like to add to Bajoriji's thing is that also there is a lot of uncertainty and complex situation arising from shipping situation worldwide. That is also adding to the cost.
Very good.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so we don't really see the shipping also that in the short term getting itself corrected.
Okay. So, sir, that would mean that the management also acknowledges that, given the information we get from all quarters about commodities being in a super cycle, plus the supply chain thing is not going to go away overnight. So, the management acknowledges that over the next maybe 3 to 4 quarters, we may be in a little high raw material price zone. Is that, do I understand correct?
3 to 4 quarters is not something which anybody can say. Look, our imports are quite a bit based on petro products, So the petro prices, and as everybody knows, we are reading every day that the crude oil has exceeded even $80, which was not even 40 a couple of quarters ago. So, but yes, it is not going to go away overnight. You have absolutely hit the nail on the head. And going forward, I think couple of quarters now, it could be 2 quarters, 3 quarters. Let us wait and see. But I can only tell you that we are at it. We will do as best as any other tire company is doing in the country.
Okay. So thank you for taking my questions patiently. If I may just squeeze in a small point, you can answer very briefly. So this is about the, the advent of the EV vehicles. They may soon reach an inflection point and we may see much larger numbers. So I just wanted to understand, because I read somewhere that EVs require lightweight tires compared to the conventional tires. So is it that tire manufacturers are, focusing on, does it require any kind of overhaul in the tire production? Are we ready to grab a good market share of EV vehicles going ahead, please?
No, good question and very pertinent question. JK Tyre has already made this significant stride into this EV segment. In fact, the first lot of the EV bus, as you may know, that was also launched on the JK Tyre wheels. The company is also working very closely with the OEMs such as JBM or the Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, VCV on the EV front. And we have also supplied our TPMS sensor fitted to this JBM vehicles. We are using our Trill product, which is this TPMS sensor device.
All right.
Then, in addition, the company is also offering to various 2-3-wheeler companies in the EV segment. Our roadmap for technology we have already drawn up, and driving this development of technology to a newer material, tire design on automotive processes to achieve continuous reduction in rolling resistance of tires, which is a key attribute for EV tires, and working also on developing new products for global OEM in India for the EV. And we have plans to invest considerable amount for our R&D equipment to strengthen our presence in this EV segment.
So we are actually on the front, basically in the front line to cater to the requirements of the EV segment. And what Anshuman just said.
And just the last line, sir, without any discussion, EV vehicle tires will be heavier and not lighter is all that I want to tell you, because the battery is going to be much, much more heavier rather than any other vehicle.
Okay. So it's not that because of less mechanical parts, the tire lightweight has to be lightweight. You are clarifying that it will actually be heavier in size. Okay. Thank you very much and good wishes for the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karan Koken from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Can you please be louder because we were not able to hear the name of the person concerned?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. I just have one question, sir. In your presentation, you have said that the net debt for the company at the end of first half was around 4,800 crores. So I just had one question. Suppose this deleveraging program that we are planning to reduce our long-term debt by 40%, where do we see our net debt in FY 24 or 25? That's the only question.
No, so by the end of FY 24, we will be reducing almost like about 40% of the current long-term debt. Right? So only 60% of the total debt would be remaining, and the total amount of debt as of now, as you would have noticed, is about on consolidated basis 4,700 crore rupees approximately. And out of that, the long-term debt is approximately 3,000 crore rupees.
Okay, so out of 3,000 crores, we'll be reducing around, say, 1,200 crores.
40% we will be reducing by FY 24.
Okay.
Just want to re-emphasize at this point of time, see the company is now in existence for the last almost about close to 47, 48 years. We have always adhered to the schedules for the repayment of the loans. You see, with a much better profitability and with a much better improved cash flows, I think our focus is on deleveraging the balance sheet, and we are very confident that in the next 3 years' time, the balance sheet will be much debt lighter.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So that's all from me. Thank you. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mitul Shah from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for giving opportunity again. Sir, I have question on your capex and capacity in terms of clarification. Right now, our utilization is 85% in a quarter where replacement is relatively weaker. In earlier quarters, we reached to 90% kind of a utilization level. So as industry is expected to grow roughly a long-term average of 8-10%, so by next year we'll reach close to 100%. So I want to understand with this debottlenecking, this capacity of 5,75,000 can go to what level? And if you can give some more light in terms of which segment you find debottlenecking can help more within CVP, CRN.
Mr. Mittal, I think we have discussed this even in our last call also. So our capacities will go up by about 10% approximately, right, through the debottlenecking of our plants. So, and at the moment, like we have been operating, last quarter we operated at about 85%. So going forward, even if there is a, let's say, increase in the capacity utilization, which we are hoping for with the improvement in the OEM demand, so we will be able to reach about 95%, let's say, plus kind of capacity utilization. So we are not seeing any such possibility of any losing of any opportunity during the process. And once the, as I said earlier also, once this debottlenecking is completed and our deleveraging is happened, then we will quickly take up the expansion plans on brownfield basis. Nothing as of now is concrete.
By 24, can we expect this plan, sir, in 24?
No,
FY
no,
24?
before that, I am not announcing, I am not giving you any expected target dates also, but we will see as we go along, and this will also depend upon how the market is shaping up.
And this 10% extra capacity would be more or less similar across the segments, or any particular segment see more?
PCR could be more. PCR could be more, and other segments will also see expansion in capacity.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star then 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Bharat Pagnani from Living Root Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I have a couple of questions. Sanjeev ji, you mentioned that, the debt levels have gone up because of the operations of the company and revenues have gone up. So proportionately looking ahead, since you are saying that revenue should go up further, so should we expect that the working capital debt will further go up once the OEMs pick up?
I think, Bharatji, we just answered this in this call itself, that we have been managing and trying to keep this under control, and there is a strict control on the overall current assets and the credit period and other things. So we are not expecting, but because there was a sudden increase in the business in the last 2 quarters and 3 quarters particularly, so there was increase, and we actually have been devising ways and means to control this further. So I do not think that this will go up any further, although there could be an increase in the business, let's say 10% plus kind of thing every year, but we will be managing it very efficiently.
So we were actually, as investors, we were actually hoping that the last quarter, that was the peak debt of around 4,450 crores or 4,500 crores. So it was a little surprising to see that we had increased our debt.
No, this is, again, I am saying that even if there is some increase in the working capital because of the business operations, this is always good. But of course, how efficiently we are managing it, that is the question. So increase in debt because of working capital is not a bad thing for that matter, right? Because we see that if we can maintain slightly higher level of inventory and the more number of SKUs are there, or let's say the receivables have gone up because of more exports, and that is also one point you should note, that there has been an increase in exports, like to the extent of about 35%. That is one. Second, as Mr. Kinra mentioned earlier, that the prices for the raw materials have gone up by about let's say 30% in last 2-3 quarters, and also in fact we have built up some level of the raw material inventory, because in the rising scenario for the raw material we have to build up a strategic inventory. So these are some of the factors which have also caused this increase. Otherwise, the efficiency in managing the working capital is very much there, and which is being further enhanced.
So we can say that this would be...
What Sanjeev has just said. See, the working capital per se may have gone up because of the increase in the volumes. But in terms of working capital cycle, in terms of number of days, it has come down. You see, the most important is the working capital cycle. And because the values, a lot depends on the volumes, values of the raw material, values of the end product, these have all gone up. Even if we don't do anything, even then there is a general increase of about 10-15% because of the valuation factor. But the key factor is the number of days of the working capital cycle. Fortunately, as Sanjeev has mentioned, that has come down.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then this should be the level at which we can operate. We can expect to end the year as well.
Surely.
Okay. So second question was that in the current calendar year, starting from January 21, what is the kind of price hike that we have already taken?
Of course. Sir,
I understand that it would be separate on all the time.
Sir, we had just mentioned that out of the total increase, we have already taken about 50% in the last 2-3 quarters, and going forward, we are inching up only and only to offset the actual increase that has been happened on the margins. That's all. So don't be think we will definitely continue to take the price hike which is necessary, and only that will be passed on, so that we can maintain our working results and improve our margins.
So barring any unforeseen circumstances on the raw material, let's say, assuming that it stays at the same level at which it is right now, how much time will it take to pass on the rest of the 50%? Any indication there? Would it take 1 quarter, 2 quarters, or 3 quarters from now?
Mr. Kinra, he had earlier in the call said that it takes some time to absorb the price increases in the replacement market, which is the aftermarket. But we have been able to take, but the OEM is linked to indexation. So that is a lag effect of 2 to 3 months, but that surely comes. The other thing is that we've been able to take good price increases in the export market. So overall, I think I've been able to answer you on that.
Yeah, that answers the question. And just the
one more
final,
point to this, that in the international market, the pass on is very fast, quick compared to the Indian market. But yes, we are hopeful and we intend to pass on the increase fully.
Okay. So just a final question, that we've been adding quite a few dealers over the last 1 year or so. So at what number do we expect to close the financial year today, and where are we today on that number?
So we
The
are
exclusive shoppies and dealers.
About 6,350 levels. That is what we have been targeting at by the end of this financial year.
And where are we currently on that?
This is almost at about
5,700
approximately. 5,700.
Okay.
See, we have a very wide network. We have already reached 6,000, and then apart from the dealer network, there are retail shops in terms of steel wheels and also in terms of express wheels in the B category of towns. Correct. These are these. One has to see as a whole, not only one number of the dealer network only. No.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best for the remaining year.
Thank you. We need your good wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management for closing comments.
Yeah. So thank you so much for to join us today on this call, and
Very well.
and we hope that we have been able to reply to your questions to your satisfaction. And I on my own behalf and on behalf of the company's management, wish you a very happy and prosperous Diwali, and wish you season's greetings. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of ICICI Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining. You may now disconnect your lines.